Marine pollution. Welcome to this monologue on marine pollution. Our oceans cover more than 70% of the Earth's surface and are home to a vast array of marine life. However, our oceans are facing a crisis of pollution that is threatening the health of marine ecosystems and the livelihoods of millions of people who depend on them. In this monologue, we will explore the causes and consequences of marine pollution, as well as the solutions that can help us protect our oceans for future generations. Introduction to marine pollution: what it is and why it matters. Marine pollution is the introduction of harmful substances into the marine environment, including oceans, seas, estuaries, and other bodies of water. These substances can be either man-made or naturally occurring, and can originate from a variety of sources such as industrial activities, shipping, agriculture, and domestic sewage. Marine pollution can have a significant impact on marine ecosystems and the organisms that inhabit them, including fish, marine mammals, and sea birds. It can also have negative effects on human health, as well as economic and social impacts. Some of the common forms of marine pollution include oil spills, chemical contamination, plastic waste, and nutrient pollution. Oil spills, for example, can be devastating to marine life by coating animals and plants with toxic oil, blocking sunlight, and disrupting the food chain. Plastic waste can be ingested by marine animals, causing physical harm and potentially entering the human food chain. Nutrient pollution, caused by excess fertilizers and other chemicals, can lead to the growth of harmful algae blooms that can cause oxygen depletion and create dead zones where marine life cannot survive. In addition to harming marine life and human health, marine pollution can have economic impacts such as lost revenue for industries such as fisheries and tourism. It also impacts the livelihoods of communities that rely on the ocean for their way of life. Therefore, it is crucial to take steps to prevent and reduce marine pollution. This can involve measures such as better waste management, reducing the use of single-use plastics, improving regulations around shipping and industrial activities, and promoting sustainable fishing practices. The state of our oceans. Understanding the extent and impact of marine pollution. The state of our oceans is a matter of great concern. Marine pollution, caused by human activities, has had a devastating impact on our oceans and the life within them. The extent of marine pollution is vast and the impact it has on the environment and our health is far-reaching. Marine pollution refers to the contamination of the ocean by harmful substances, such as plastic, chemicals, oil, and other waste materials. These pollutants come from a variety of sources, including industrial and agricultural runoff, sewage, shipping activities, and littering. One of the most visible and pervasive forms of marine pollution is plastic waste. Millions of tons of plastic are dumped into the ocean each year, and it can take hundreds of years for it to decompose. As a result, plastic waste can harm marine life in many ways, including ingestion, entanglement, and suffocation. Chemical pollutants, such as oil spills and agricultural runoff, can also have a devastating impact on the marine environment. Oil spills can harm marine life and disrupt entire ecosystems, while agricultural runoff can lead to toxic algal blooms that can poison fish and other marine organisms. In addition to the environmental impact, marine pollution also has economic and social consequences. For example, the fishing and tourism industries can be severely impacted by polluted waters, leading to loss of income and jobs. To address the issue of marine pollution, it is essential to increase public awareness of the problem and to implement effective policies and regulations at the national and international level. This can include measures such as reducing single-use plastics, improving waste management systems, and enforcing penalties for polluters. In conclusion, the extent and impact of marine pollution are significant, and urgent action is needed to protect our oceans and the life within them. By working together to address this issue, we can ensure a healthy and sustainable future for our planet. Plastic pollution: how our addiction to single-use plastics is choking our oceans. Plastic pollution is a global environmental issue that is affecting our oceans in a significant way. Our addiction to single-use plastics, such as plastic bags, water bottles, and straws, is one of the primary sources of plastic pollution in our oceans. When we discard these single-use plastic items, they often end up in our oceans, where they can harm marine life and ecosystems. Plastic waste can entangle and suffocate marine animals, and when plastic breaks down into smaller particles, it can be ingested by fish and other sea creatures, which can ultimately harm humans who consume seafood. Plastic pollution is also a threat to human health. When plastic is exposed to sunlight and seawater, It breaks down into tiny particles known as microplastics, which can absorb toxins and pollutants. These microplastics can then enter the food chain when marine animals consume them, leading to potential health risks for humans who eat seafood. To combat plastic pollution, it is essential to reduce our use of single-use plastics and encourage the use of alternative materials. This can be achieved through recycling, reusing, and reducing our consumption of single-use plastics. Governments, businesses, and individuals all have a role to play in tackling plastic pollution. Efforts are also underway to clean up plastic waste from our oceans. Organizations such as the Ocean Cleanup are using advanced technologies to remove plastic waste from the ocean and prevent it from entering the food chain. Overall, it is essential to address our addiction to single-use plastics and take action to reduce plastic pollution in our oceans to protect marine life and human health. Chemical pollution, the hidden dangers of industrial chemicals in our waters. Chemical pollution is a serious environmental issue that poses a threat to human health and the health of our planet's ecosystems. Industrial chemicals, including heavy metals, pesticides, and plastics, are being released into our waterways, and this pollution is having devastating effects on aquatic life and the environment. One of the most concerning aspects of chemical pollution is the long-term, cumulative effects that exposure to these chemicals can have on human health. Many of these chemicals are known to be carcinogenic, meaning they can cause cancer. Exposure to these chemicals can also lead to developmental problems, reproductive issues, and immune system damage. The impact of chemical pollution on aquatic ecosystems is also significant. Chemicals released into our waters can accumulate in the tissues of fish and other aquatic animals, leading to reduced reproductive success and increased mortality rates. This can have serious consequences for both the ecosystem and the people who rely on these resources for food and income. There are several sources of chemical pollution in our waterways, including industrial processes, agriculture, and urban runoff. It is important that we take steps to reduce our reliance on these chemicals and find alternative solutions to protect our environment and public health. Governments and industries need to work together to develop more sustainable practices and regulations to prevent chemical pollution from occurring. Individuals can also play a role by being mindful of the products they use and disposing of hazardous waste responsibly. By working together, we can reduce the impact of chemical pollution on our waterways and protect our planet for future generations. Oil spills, the devastating effects of oil pollution on marine ecosystems. Oil spills can have devastating effects on marine ecosystems, causing widespread pollution that can harm or even kill marine animals and plants, disrupt food chains, and damage habitats. Some of the specific effects of oil pollution on marine ecosystems include 1. Harm to marine animals. Oil spills can harm or kill marine animals, including fish, birds, and mammals, by coating their feathers or fur, clogging their gills, and affecting their ability to find food or navigate. This can lead to long-term population declines or even extinction of some species. 2. Disruption of food chains. Oil spills can disrupt the food chains of marine ecosystems by killing off the smaller organisms that form the base of the food web. This can have cascading effects on larger predators, leading to population declines or even extinction of some species. 3. Damage to habitats. Oil spills can damage or destroy the habitats of marine organisms, including coral reefs, mangrove forests, and estuaries. This can lead to long-term declines in biodiversity and ecosystem function. 4. Economic losses. Oil spills can also have significant economic impacts, particularly for industries that rely on clean oceans and healthy marine ecosystems, such as fishing, tourism, and recreation. Preventing oil spills is critical for protecting marine ecosystems and the communities that rely on them. This can be achieved through better regulations, improved safety practices, and investments in alternative energy sources that reduce our dependence on fossil fuels. In the event of an oil spill, quick and effective cleanup efforts can help to minimize the damage and restore affected ecosystems. Microplastics, the tiny particles causing big problems for marine life. Microplastics are small plastic particles, less than 5 millimeters in size, that are found in oceans, rivers, lakes, and other bodies of water. They come from a variety of sources, including cosmetics, clothing, and industrial waste. Once in the water, they are eaten by marine animals, which can lead to a range of health problems and even death. Marine animals, such as fish and birds, mistake microplastics for food, and ingest them. These plastic particles can cause blockages in the animal's digestive system, preventing it from being able to properly absorb nutrients. This can lead to malnutrition, weakened immune systems, and even death. In addition, microplastics can also contain toxic chemicals, such as polychlorinated biphenyls, PCBs, and other persistent organic pollutants, POPs, which can be harmful to both marine animals and humans who consume them. Microplastics are also a major threat to the ocean ecosystem. They can interfere with the natural food chain, disrupt the balance of the marine environment, and negatively impact the biodiversity of the oceans. To tackle this issue, it is important to reduce our reliance on single-use plastics and to properly dispose of plastic waste. We can also choose to use products made from natural materials, such as cotton or bamboo, instead of synthetic materials, which contribute to the release of microplastics. In conclusion, microplastics are a significant problem for marine life and the ocean ecosystem as a whole. It is important that we take steps to reduce our use of plastic and properly dispose of plastic waste to prevent further harm to our environment. Ghost fishing, the deadly impact of abandoned fishing gear on marine wildlife. Ghost fishing refers to the phenomenon of abandoned or lost fishing gear, such as nets, lines, and traps, continuing to capture and kill marine wildlife long after they have been discarded or lost. This gear can remain in the ocean for years, causing significant damage to marine ecosystems and contributing to the decline of certain species. Ghost fishing gear is responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of marine animals each year, including fish, seabirds, turtles, and marine mammals such as seals and whales. The animals become entangled in the gear and are unable to free themselves, leading to injuries, suffocation, or drowning. In addition to its direct impact on wildlife, ghost fishing gear also has indirect effects on the environment. For example, it can damage sensitive marine habitats like coral reefs and seagrass beds, and interfere with fishing activities by fouling propellers or damaging fishing gear. The problem of ghost fishing is exacerbated by the vast quantities of fishing gear that are used worldwide, particularly in commercial fishing operations. Some estimates suggest that up to 10% of fishing gear is lost or abandoned each year, amounting to millions of tons of debris in the world's oceans. Efforts are being made to address the issue of ghost fishing, including the development of biodegradable fishing gear, better gear marking and tracking systems, and initiatives to remove abandoned gear from the ocean. However, much more needs to be done to reduce the amount of fishing gear that is lost or discarded and to mitigate its impact on marine wildlife and ecosystems. Solutions to marine pollution. What we can do to protect our oceans. Marine pollution is a growing problem that poses a threat to the health of our oceans and the life that inhabits them. However, there are several actions that we can take to protect our oceans and reduce the impact of marine pollution. Here are some solutions. 1. Reduce the use of single-use plastics. Single-use plastics are a significant contributor to marine pollution. We can reduce our use of single-use plastics by using reusable bags, water bottles, and utensils. 2. Properly dispose of waste. Improper disposal of waste leads to pollution in our oceans. We can dispose of waste properly by using recycling bins and trash cans and avoiding littering. 3. Support marine conservation organizations. Supporting organizations that work to protect the oceans can help promote conservation efforts and raise awareness about the issue of marine pollution. 4. Use eco-friendly products. Using eco-friendly products that are biodegradable and environmentally friendly can help reduce the amount of pollution that enters our oceans. 5. Reduce carbon footprint. Climate change is affecting our oceans, leading to acidification and changes in temperature that impact marine life. We can reduce our carbon footprint by using energy-efficient appliances, reducing our energy consumption, and supporting renewable energy sources. 6. Participate in beach cleanups. Participating in beach cleanups is an excellent way to help remove waste from our oceans and promote the importance of keeping our oceans clean. 7. Support laws and regulations. Governments and organizations are implementing laws and regulations to protect our oceans. Supporting these initiatives can help promote the health of our oceans and reduce the impact of marine pollution. Overall, protecting our oceans from pollution requires collective action from individuals, organizations, and governments. By taking these steps, we can help reduce the amount of pollution entering our oceans and promote the health and sustainability of our marine ecosystems. Policy and activism. How government action and public pressure can make a difference. Government action and public pressure can play important roles in shaping policy and driving change in a variety of areas, from social justice to environmental protection to public health. When it comes to government action, laws and regulations can be powerful tools for shaping behavior and outcomes. Governments can create incentives for certain behaviors, impose penalties for others, and allocate resources to address specific challenges. For example, laws and regulations can mandate certain environmental standards for businesses, require employers to provide certain benefits to their employees, or fund public health initiatives like vaccination programs. However, government action can also be slow and bureaucratic, and is sometimes subject to political influence or special interests. That's where public pressure can come in. By speaking out, organizing, and engaging in advocacy, individuals and groups can help push for policy changes that better reflect their values and priorities. This can take many forms, from grassroots campaigns to public demonstrations to social media activism. Public pressure can also help hold government officials accountable for their actions or inaction. By making their voices heard, individuals and groups can demand greater transparency, fairness, and responsiveness from their elected representatives. Ultimately, government action and public pressure can work hand in hand to create positive change in society. By working together, we can build a more equitable, just, and sustainable world for all. The future of our oceans, why we must act now to save our planet's most precious resource. The future of our oceans is at risk due to a variety of human-induced factors, including climate change, overfishing, pollution, and habitat destruction. The ocean covers over 70% of the Earth's surface and plays a critical role in regulating our planet's climate, supporting biodiversity, and providing food and livelihoods for millions of people worldwide. Therefore, we must act now to save our planet's most precious resource. Here are some reasons why we must act urgently to protect the health of our oceans. 1. Climate change. The ocean absorbs much of the excess heat and carbon dioxide that we emit, which has resulted in ocean acidification, warming, and sea level rise. These changes have significant impacts on marine ecosystems, including coral reefs, which support over 25% of all marine life. 2. Overfishing. Overfishing occurs when we remove fish from the ocean at a rate that exceeds their ability to reproduce, leading to a decline in fish populations and disrupting the balance of marine ecosystems. 3. Pollution. Pollution from plastic waste, chemicals, and other forms of waste has devastating effects on marine life, including entanglement, ingestion, and suffocation. 4. Habitat destruction. Human activities such as bottom trawling and coastal development destroy important habitats such as seagrass beds and mangroves, which provide vital services for marine biodiversity and protect coastal communities from storms and erosion. To address these challenges, we need urgent action to protect and restore our oceans. Some ways we can do this include: 1. Reducing our carbon footprint. We must reduce greenhouse gas emissions to limit the impacts of climate change on the ocean. 2. Protecting marine habitats. We need to establish marine protected areas, reduce destructive fishing practices, and promote sustainable fishing practices that support healthy fish populations and habitats. 3. Reducing pollution. We need to reduce the amount of plastic and other forms of waste that enter the ocean, and promote circular economy practices that reduce waste and pollution. 4. Supporting global action. We need to work together as a global community to tackle the complex challenges facing our oceans, including through international agreements such as the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea and the Paris Agreement. In conclusion, the future of our oceans is at risk, and we must act now to protect this critical resource. By taking action to reduce our impact on the ocean, protect marine habitats, and promote sustainable practices, we can ensure that future generations can continue to enjoy the many benefits that our oceans provide. As we've seen, marine pollution is a complex and pressing issue that requires urgent action. From reducing our use of single-use plastics to regulating industrial chemicals and cleaning up abandoned fishing gear, there are many steps we can take to protect our oceans. By working together, we can ensure that our oceans remain healthy and vibrant, supporting both the ecological and economic well-being of our planet. Thank you for listening, and let's all do our part to protect our oceans.